The sky above the alien city was always red. It never changed. The buildings were tall, sharp like blades and made from black metal. The streets below were crowded with creatures from many planets, but not humans. Humans were rare here, unwanted. John walked alone through the lower zone. He wore a gray coat full of holes, his shoes were broken, his eyes were tired. He had no friends, no job, and no reason to smile. The other species around him didn't talk to him. They looked at him like he was dirt. He didn't care anymore. As he passed a dark alley between two large factories, he heard a sound. A small, metal sound, like something being dragged. It was strange. He stopped and looked into the darkness. At first he saw nothing. Then he heard a whisper. Soft. Broken. Go away. Please. John moved closer. There, hidden behind a pile of trash and broken machines, was a girl. An alien girl. Her skin was silver blue, shining like water. Her eyes were big and glowing faint green. She had long white hair, messy and dirty. But most of all, she had no legs. Her body ended at the waist. Below, there were just metal wires, tubes and burnt skin. She was lying on a piece of old cloth. Her arms were thin. Her face was pale. But she wasn't crying. She was waiting to die. John didn't move. He looked at her. She looked back. For a moment there was silence. "You're human," she said, her voice weak. "Yes," John answered. She tried to move but winced in pain. "You shouldn't talk to me. They'll see. They'll hurt you too." John looked around. No one was there. The wind blew dust and smoke through the alley. "Who did this to you?" he asked. She didn't answer. John stepped forward. "I can help you." She shook her head quickly. "No. No help. Just go. You don't understand. I'm not supposed to be alive." John knelt beside her. "What's your name?" "Saraya." He reached out his hand. She flinched, afraid, but slowly she let him touch her. Her skin was cold. Too cold. He saw marks on her back. Deep scars. Strange lines. Symbols. Burned into her flesh. "What are these?" he whispered. She closed her eyes. "Marks of failure. They made me. Tested me. When I broke, they threw me away." John's heart felt heavy. He had never seen someone like her. So hurt, so forgotten, so alone just like him. "I have a small room," John said. "It's warm. I have clean water. I can carry you there." Saraya opened her eyes again. "Why?" He paused. "Because I know what it feels like to be left behind." She looked at him for a long time. Then slowly, she nodded. He took off his coat and wrapped it around her. Then, gently, he lifted her in his arms. She was light. Too light. She had not eaten in days. Maybe weeks. As he carried her out of the alley, she whispered one last thing. "You shouldn't have done this." "Why?" John asked. "Because now they'll come for you too." The rain started falling as John stepped through the back entrance of his building. He carried Saraya in his arms, her body wrapped in his coat. The water hit her face, washing away some of the dirt, but it could not wash away the pain in her eyes. John lived in the old human quarter deep under the main city. The lights here were broken, the walls cracked, the air smelled of rust and oil, but it was quiet, forgotten. He reached his room. Small, dark, and cold. Just a single bed, a table, and a broken screen on the wall. But it was safe. He placed Saraya gently on the bed. Her breathing was weak. "I'll bring water," John said. She didn't answer. When he returned, she was looking at the ceiling. Her hands were shaking. "I need to remove these cables," John said, pointing to the wires sticking from her waist. "No," she said suddenly. "Don't touch them. They're alive." John froze. "Alive?" She looked at him. "They move. When I sleep, they listen." John stepped back, shocked, but he had seen enough strange things in this galaxy to know she was serious. "I'll be careful," he said. He opened his old med kit. As he touched the cable near her spine, Zaraya gasped. The lights in the room flickered. John stopped. "Did you feel that?" She nodded slowly. "You touched the core." He didn't understand. "What core?" She bit her lip. "They put something inside me. Not just metal. Something ancient. It speaks sometimes in dreams. It wasn't meant for me." John looked closer. The cable near her spine wasn't normal. It had strange markings, like writing, but not from any language he knew. He touched it again. Suddenly, a deep buzz came from the wall screen. It turned on, by itself. The screen glitched, then displayed one word. "Contact." Zaraya sat up, her eyes wide. "They found us." John looked at her. "How?" She pointed at the core inside her. "It sent a signal when you touched it. A beacon." Before John could speak, a loud boom shook the building. Outside in the distance, alarm screamed. The city was waking up. "They're coming," she said. "Not to kill me, to take me back." John's hands curled into fists. "Not happening." Zaraya's eyes softened. "You don't understand, John. I'm not special. I'm a failed test. A broken experiment. They will tear apart the city to erase me." "I don't care," John said. "You're not a thing. You're a person." She looked like she wanted to cry, but she didn't. "I wasn't supposed to live this long." The door behind John suddenly sparked, electric locks failing. John grabbed the small blaster under his table. "We have to move." Zaraya reached into her chest harness and pulled out a small crystal. It glowed faint blue. "What is that?" John asked. "The only memory I have," she said. "It's the voice of the one who built me, before they erased him too." The door crashed open. A black drone hovered in, silent, watching. It scanned John, then Zaraya. Zaraya whispered, "Don't let it call them." John raised the blaster and fired. Sparks flew. The drone dropped, but behind it, more shadows moved. John turned to Zaraya. "Can you hold on?" She gave a weak smile. "I've survived worse." He lifted her again, this time with urgency. As they ran down the hallway, lights turned red. Sirens howled. The old city was no longer quiet, and in a tower far above, an alien commander watched the footage. He pointed to the screen. "That human touched the core. Mark him." "Mark him for what?" his assistant asked. The commander's eyes narrowed. "For erasure." The sky above turned black, though it was already night. But this darkness was different. Heavy. Alive. Something was coming. John ran through the service tunnels with Zaraya in his arms. She was lighter than he remembered. Too quiet. Her eyes were open but not focused. "Stay with me," John whispered. She blinked slowly. They activated the protocol. Sky code. "What's that?" he asked, out of breath. Zaraya turned her head weakly toward him. "Not soldiers, not police. Sky hunters, made to erase without question." A deep mechanical roar echoed above them, then a high-pitched whistle. The tunnel shook. John looked up. Dust rained from the ceiling. "Where are we going?" she asked. "To the old monorail system, my friends. Workshop is near it. He fixes old ships. If anyone can hide us, it's him." But Zaraya was fading fast. Her body temperature kept dropping. Behind them, the tunnel lights exploded one by one, getting closer. John looked back. Nothing there. Then, he heard it. Click, 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 metal claws. He sprinted faster. At last, a rusted door appeared. He kicked it open and slammed it behind them. They were inside an abandoned rail station. Broken screens still showed faded travel routes. A large hologram blinked in the corner. "Welcome to Transit Hub 12. John." Later, down on a bench. "I'll find us a way out," he said. She grabbed his arm weakly. "If I die, they'll leave you alone." John looked into her glowing eyes. I'd rather be hunted than be alone again. Zereya blinked once. Why are you like this? Because I used to ask that same question. Every day. Suddenly, the roof ripped open. A sky hunter dropped through. It was not a machine. Not fully. Its body was a mix of silver bone, wires, and black flesh. Its face had no eyes, just a single red scanner across its head. John aimed his blaster. The hunter moved faster than sight. It was behind him in a flash, grabbing his arm. The blaster flew across the room. John punched it. Nothing happened. The hunter raised its claw, about to strike. Then Zereya screamed. A pulse of blue light exploded from her body, throwing the hunter across the room. It hit the wall and cracked it. Zereya's body glowed bright. Her chest lit up like fire. The wires on her waist moved on their own, forming sharp shapes, defensive limbs. She stood. John couldn't believe it. You're standing. She looked at him, no longer weak. I wasn't supposed to walk again, but you changed that. The hunter growled and rose. Zereya pointed her glowing hand. A beam of light cut through the air, straight through the hunter's chest. The machine screamed, and then it exploded. The light in Zereya's body faded again. Her knees buckled. John rushed forward and caught her. Why did you do that? He asked. She smiled weakly. Because you looked at me, like I mattered. Footsteps echoed outside. The broken rail station. More were coming. John picked up Zereya and headed toward a hidden door in the back. Through the shadows, a voice whispered from above. The human has awakened her core. Begin planetary lockdown. In the far corner of the galaxy, a council of alien leaders sat in silence. One of them leaned forward. A human touched the starborn core. Yes, said the officer. And the girl lived? She not only lived, the officer replied. She protected him. The leader took a breath. Then everything we feared is beginning. John had never been to the dead layer before. It was the deepest part of the city, buried under 10 levels of scrap, secrets, and silence. No one came here unless they had nothing left to lose. He carried Zereya through rusted tunnels and twisted ladders. She had passed out after destroying the Sky Hunter. Her body still glowed faintly, like a fire fading in the dark. They reached a door that looked like it had not opened in years. John knocked 3 times, waited, then knocked twice more. A robotic eye blinked to life above the door. Access denied, said a voice. John leaned close. Tell Corin it's John. I brought something broken. The robotic eye scanned him, then the door creaked open. Inside was a massive workshop filled with sparks, smoke, and old machines. A tall alien with 6 mechanical arms turned around. His face was hidden behind a welding mask. You look like you've been fighting gods, Corin said. John placed Zereya on a workbench. She needs legs, fast and strong. Corin lifted his mask. His eyes widened. She's starborn tech. John nodded. But she's not a weapon. She's someone. Corin stared at the glowing veins on her skin. You touched her core? Yes. Then you're already marked. I know. Corin sighed. This is madness, John. No, John said, eyes sharp. This is a second chance. For the next 2 days, they worked non-stop. John gathered parts. Corin rebuilt old servos. They mixed alien metal with human engineering. The legs were not beautiful, but they were powerful. Zereya woke on the second night. She blinked at the lights above her. Where? You're safe, John said. She looked down. Her legs, silver, sharp, and strong, rested at the end of her body. Her hands shook. You rebuilt me. I gave you what they stole, John said softly. Zereya sat up slowly. She moved her new legs, 1 step, then another. Then she walked across the room. It wasn't perfect, but it was hers. I feel different, she whispered. You are, said Corin. You were designed to hold power, but your body was broken before it awakened. Now, it's repairing itself. Ziraya touched her chest. The core inside me, it's not just tech. It's memory. It's alive. John walked beside her, and now it's awake. Suddenly, the lights flickered. A loud crash echoed from outside. Corin checked the scanner. His face turned pale. They found us. John looked at Ziraya. Can you run? She nodded. I can fly. She reached into her chest plate and pulled out the glowing crystal again. This holds the voice of my creator. Maybe it can unlock more. She placed it into a port in her side. For a moment, nothing. Then her body began to change. Wings of light formed behind her. Not real wings, but energy. A force field shaped like wings. Her eyes turned silver. Corin gasped. She's syncing with the starborn AI. You shouldn't be able to survive that. Ziraya looked at John. I can survive. Because you reminded me, I'm not a failure. The roof exploded. Enemy drones poured in. Ziraya raised her hand and the entire sky turned blue. The drones froze, crashed, shattered. She fell to her knees. Too much, too fast. John caught her. Don't push it. But she looked at him with a strange, gentle smile. You gave me legs. Now I want to walk beside you. Not run away anymore. In the smoke above, a new figure watched them, through satellite eyes. Begin phase 2, the voice said. The girl must be taken alive. The human must be erased. The ship was silent, too silent. John and Ziraya sat inside a stolen skimmer, flying through the edge of the forbidden zone. Behind them, the city still burned. Above them, satellites searched the sky. But here, only stars watched. Ziraya rested, her head against the cold wall of the ship. Her eyes were open, glowing silver. Her breathing was calm, but inside her, a storm was growing. John looked at her. You're changing. I know, she said softly. It's not just the legs, or the power. It's something deeper. John stared forward. You said the core speaks. What is it telling you now? Ziraya closed her eyes. It doesn't speak in words, it shows visions of stars breaking, of ships falling, of a war we've forgotten. She placed a hand on her chest. I think it remembers things older than any of us. John leaned closer. Then why was it inside you? Ziraya looked at him. Because I was never meant to be a person. I was meant to be a vault. John felt a cold chill. A vault for what? She answered in a whisper. A weapon. They landed on an abandoned moon station hidden in the asteroid belt. Corin had sent them the coordinates before his signal went dark. Inside, the station was quiet, dusty and ancient, but alive. As they walked through the halls, the lights flickered on, by themselves. Ziraya's steps echoed through the halls. The walls seemed to respond, buzzing faintly as she passed. John noticed symbols along the floor. Not alien, not human, something in between. Ziraya stopped. This place knows me, she said. They entered a round chamber in the center. In the middle stood a glowing pedestal. As she approached, the pedestal pulsed. A soft hum filled the air. Ziraya touched it. Suddenly the chamber filled with light. Images floated around them. Stars, maps, battles, ships shaped like animals. Giant, machines crushing planets, and then a familiar face, John as a boy, standing before a burning ship, crying. Ziraya gasped. That's you. John's eyes widened. I don't remember this. The voice of the core echoed through the room. Designation, human prime, bloodline active, guardian status, awakened. John stepped back. What does that mean? Ziraya turned to him slowly. You weren't just the one who saved me. You were meant to. What? She pointed to his wrist, where strange marks had started to appear. glowing blue like hers. You were built for something too. Not metal, but memory. You're carrying a key. John backed away. No, I'm nobody. I'm just... The chamber shook. The lights turned red. A voice screamed, "Location breach. Extraction squad inbound. Prepare for lockdown." Zaraya grabbed John's hand. You were alone for so long, because they feared what you were becoming. Becoming what? He asked. A match to the weapon inside me. From the ceiling. Dark cables dropped down. Robotic claws slithered from the walls. They want both of us. Zaraya whispered. Alive. Together. Because only then, the weapon will unlock. John looked at her, breathing fast. What happens if it unlocks? Zaraya's voice trembled. Then the galaxy remembers what it tried so hard to forget. The moon station began to shake. Metal panels fell from the ceiling. Red lights flashed across the chamber walls. The voice of the core repeated over and over. Extraction imminent. Extraction imminent. Zaraya turned toward John. We don't have time. John was still frozen, staring at his wrist. The blue markings were spreading up his arm to his chest. His heart beat louder than the alarms. I'm not special, he whispered. Zaraya stepped closer. You are. They erased your memory, your past, but it's in you. You were the last guardian of the Starborn. No, John said. That's not me. I'm just a worker. A nobody. Zaraya placed her hand on his chest. Then why did the core wake when you touched me? Why is the galaxy hunting you two now? The chamber cracked. A figure dropped from the ceiling. It was tall. Twice John's height. Its body was wrapped in silver armor with a smooth faceplate that reflected no light. Its voice was deep and empty. Subject Human Prime, prepare for submission. John stepped forward. His hands shook. I won't let you take her. The armored figure raised its weapon. Zaraya shouted, John, don't run, remember. John closed his eyes, and something clicked. In the dark of his mind, a door opened. He saw fire. He saw ships falling from the sky. He saw himself, as a child crying next to a broken AI core. A hand reached out to him. A woman, her face blurry. Protect her, the woman said. One day she'll save everything, but only if you remember who you are. John opened his eyes. The light in his arm turned white. The armored soldier charged, fast, strong. John moved without thinking. He caught the soldier's arm and crushed it. Even he looked shocked. Zaraya stepped back. You're not like the others. You're not just a guardian, you're the key. John picked up the soldier's blade, heavy, sharp, glowing red. It fit perfectly in his hand. More soldiers arrived. 4, then 6, then 10. Zaraya stood beside him, her new legs braced, her hands glowing with energy. Are you ready? She asked. John gave a small smile. No, but let's make them regret waking us up. They fought. Together. John moved like a storm, fast, silent, deadly. His blade cut through armor. His strength shattered machines. Zaraya flew like light, her wings slicing the air, her hands shooting beams of pure force. The enemies fell, one by one, until silence returned. John dropped to one knee, breathing hard. What? Am I? Zaraya walked to him. You were hidden on purpose. You're the last defense, the final human asset. He looked up at her. You were broken, left to die. Why didn't you give up? She smiled gently. Because someone lonely gave me legs, and a reason to live. The chamber lights turned blue again. A new voice echoed around them. Not robotic, not cold. It was human. Welcome back, John Wren. Starborn Guardian 01, activation complete. A console rose from the floor. It displayed a map of the entire galaxy. Zaraya touched it. Thousands of red dots appeared. Warships, all heading toward one location. Earth. John stood slowly. So this is why they feared us. Zareya nodded. Because we're stronger together than their whole empire apart. The voice spoke again. Final protocol unlocked. Last starborn ship ready. Make your choice. John looked at her. Let's go home. The last starborn ship was not a ship at all. It was a living thing. A vessel shaped like a giant wing, sleeping inside a crater on the dark side of the moon. Its surface shimmered like water and metal mixed together. It pulsed gently, like it was breathing. John and Zareya stood before it. The ground was silent. The stars above were watching. Zareya took a slow breath. This ship was meant for two. One to guide, one to awaken. John looked at her. You and me. She nodded. The ship responded to their voices. It opened like a flower blooming under starlight. A staircase formed from light, leading them inside. Inside, the ship felt warm, alive. Soft walls pulsed like veins. As they stepped in, the ship lit up brighter. A voice whispered from the walls. Bond confirmed, memory synchronization beginning. Suddenly, John's mind flooded with light. He saw the past. Not just his, but Zareya's too. He saw how she was created, not born. Built to carry the starborn core. Meant to house something no galaxy dared to keep alive. He saw how she had legs once. How she danced, laughed. Then how they took everything from her when she failed their tests. But he also saw her spirit, her dreams, her kindness. And he saw himself, hidden, trained, erased, his memories locked, his strength kept buried. Until, now Zareya looked at him with tears in her eyes. Even when they broke me, the core kept one thing alive. Hope. John held her hand. And you kept me alive when I had nothing. The ship rose slowly, passing through the moon's surface like a ghost. In space, fleets waited. Thousands of enemy ships, all armed, all ready. A warning echoed through the galaxy. Subject Zareya and Human Prime must be contained. They fired. The first wave of missiles came fast, but Zareya's eyes lit up. She floated from the ship's floor, glowing from head to toe. I am not your weapon, she whispered. I am my own light. She raised both hands and the missiles froze in space, then shattered. The fleets moved forward. John stepped up to the control core. His veins glowed with the same light as the ship. He spoke one word. Fly. The ship vanished. In less than a second, it moved behind the enemy fleets. It didn't travel. It shifted through space like thought. They attacked again. This time, the ship opened its wings. Beams of blue fire shot out, not to kill, but to silence. Engines died, shields collapsed, weapons vanished, no deaths, only defeat. The galaxy watched. Two forgotten beings, a broken girl and a lonely man, now stood between peace and war. A final message was sent from the ship. We do not seek war, but we are no longer afraid of it. The enemy fleets turned, back not from fear but from shame. On the bridge, Zareya floated down beside John, her wings folded into her back. Her glow softened. I never thought I'd fly again, she said quietly. John smiled. You never fell. You were just waiting for the right wind. The ship entered peaceful orbit above Earth. For the first time, in a long time, they rested. Together, and across the stars, whispers spread. Not about power, not about weapons, but about a girl who had no legs, and a human who had no friends, and how they saved the galaxy, because they believed in each other when no one else did.